Hello everybody. First of all, I want to thank you for attending this webinar. And today our topic is going to be about permit use. So, as you can see in the table of contents, from slide 3 to 6, we are going to talk about permit use definition, purpose, and rules. And from slide 7 to 16, we are going to discuss and explain phases of permit use. And finally, in slide 17, we are going to show you the submission method. Okay, first of all, what is permit use? What's the definition of permit use? As you can see, all licensed healthcare facilities should obtain the permit to use for the medical devices in their facilities as stated by the law, which you can see below. Okay, so what kind of medical devices should be listed? Active medical devices, which means any medical device relying for its function on a source of electrical energy or any source of power, other than that directly generated by the human body or gravity. So let's say a medical device doesn't use the source of energy or batteries or anything. So these kind of medical devices shouldn't be listed on the list. Okay, what's the purposes of permit use? We have 4 purposes. First of all, to have a national database for medical devices. Second, to provide the national insurance with the available medical devices in Bahrain. And third, to ensure that the medical devices in compliance with the specialization of the healthcare facilities and international quality and safety standards. Fourth and last, to trace the devices in case of field safety notices, to make sure that all the devices are safe to use. Okay, what are the permit to use general rules? We have 3 rules. First, healthcare facilities management should ensure that all medical devices existing in the facilities are listed with the NHRA. Second, all medical devices must be imported and clear as per as NHRA regulations, with an evidence of required approvals. Third, medical devices should match with the healthcare facility specialization. Okay, what is the implementation phases of permit use? As you can see here, we have 3 phases. Phase 1 is listing the medical devices. Basically what are we going to do here is collect the data starting from hospitals, health centers, clinics, and ensure that the listed devices match with the healthcare facility specialty. And on phase 2 is going to be about providing the required quality certificates for all the medical devices that already has been listed in the previous phase. And on phase 3, all the qualified medical devices, registration, labeling, and publishing on NHRA website. So all the medical device that has been checked and already qualified is going to be registered and labeled and published on NHRA website. And our goal, as you can see here, is to label each device with a scannable barcode that directs the device to the device information on our website. Okay, here you can see statistics of phase 1 of facilities that already has completed phase 1. As you can see here, the total of healthcare facilities are 632. We have 235 private facilities that already completed phase 1 and 31 government centers that already completed phase 1. And you can see down below, the total number of healthcare facility listed devices is 28,441 devices. Okay, so let's talk about phase 1, which is about listing the medical devices. As you can see here, you should download the Excel sheet from NHRA website and fill it as it followed with the facilities information. As you can see here, like facility name, facility NHRA license number, and contact number. Then part 2 you should fill the medical device information. As you can see here, the device name, model number, manufacturer, country of origin, serial number, and all the needed information. Okay, this is an example of the list after you fill it. As you can see here, the name of the device, the model number, installation date. Okay, phase 2. Phase 2 is currently the most important phase because we have already started phase 2, which is about providing the required quality certificates. The required documents is quality assurance certificates, example FDA, CE mark, ISO, Saudi FDA, and the manufacturer name mentioned in the certificate should match with the name mentioned in the actual device. Second, quality assurance certificates should verified by contacting the notifying body and attach verification to send it to us. Third, the invoice of the device. And last, NHRA importation permit evidence. Please note that phase 2 has already started, so please make sure that you have completed phase 1 to start sending the required document for phase 2. Okay, this is a sample of the quality assurance certificates. As you can see here, it has the certifying body name or logo, manufacturer name, the scope of the certificates, the certificate standard, the certificate issue and expiry date. Okay, and this is an example of how to verify the quality certificate by checking the notifying body website, as you can see here. Okay, how to verify the quality certificate? By sending a mail to the notifying body or certifying body and put in our email cc or email medical underscore devices at NHRA.bh. Okay, this is a scenario of what to do if a facility doesn't have the quality assurance certificate. In case of facing a difficulty of providing the quality assurance certificate for any listed devices, please follow these steps. First, try contacting the supplier to provide you with the quality assurance certificate. If the supplier doesn't have the quality assurance certificate or any problem, try contacting the manufacturer. If not, you should contact and inform the medical device department. Last, phase 2, which is about registration of qualified medical devices and labeling it and publishing it on our NHRA website. So if all the submitted documents are verified as per NHRA medical device regulation, your healthcare facility will be inspected and the devices will be registered, labeled, and uploaded to NHRA website. Last, we have the submission method. Who and how should you submit the application? An authorized facility representative should send an email to medical devices underscore at NHRA.bh. Your document will be verified and validated if all of your documents are completed. Any missing documents will lead to not accepting the application. And thank you very much. I hope to see you soon in another webinar. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the bundling process and medical device registration applications. Bundling is the process of including more than one medical device in a single medical device registration application. There are 5 bundling groups: single medical devices family, medical devices system, medical devices procedure pack, and IVD. First group that we are going to talk about is the single medical devices bundling group. In this group, multiple medical devices with different models or product codes that differ in color, quantity, or size can be included together in a single application. However, keep in mind that they should have the same legal manufacturer, their intended use should be the same, their risk class should also be the same, and their brand name should be the same as well. A good example for this group is contact lenses. Contact lenses can come, for example, in different colors. So in this case, if they fulfill the criteria we just covered, which are the same legal manufacturer, same intended use, same risk class, and same brand name, then they can be bundled in a single application, regardless of their quantity. Contact lenses also come in different quantities, like a pack of 6 or 12, etc. In this case, different packs can be bundled together also using the single medical devices bundling, if they also fulfill the other 4 criteria. But just to be clear, different brand names of contact lenses cannot be bundled together. Then we have the medical devices family bundling group, which is similar to the single medical device bundling group, but it differs in 2 elements. First and most important one is that devices in this bundling group differ in features. By features, you can see where it is highlighted that it can include differences in material, structural characteristic, design, patient groups, energy source, brand name, model name or device description, area of application, and additional functions. The second element that the medical device family bundling is that, as we just mentioned, that you can register different brands in this group. An example to this bundling group could be ventilators. Ventilators usually needs mains electricity as their energy source. However, some ventilators contain an extra feature where they can operate, for example, half an hour or an hour, operate by batteries as their energy source. So in that case, it will be an extra feature. So these different ventilators can be bundled together if they are under the same legal manufacturer, have the same risk class and intended use. Another example could be the surgical instruments. Surgical instruments usually come in different shapes and for different area of application. And they may have also a different brand. As a result, usually medical device family bundling group would be the most suitable bundling group, as applicants would be able to include them together if they have the same function or intended use. For example, medical devices that have their intended use for cutting can be bundled together, such as scissors, knives, saw, and blades. Also, surgical instruments that have their intended use to grasp or hold can also be bundled together. So the tissue holding forceps and the bone holding forceps, for example, can be bundled together in one application. But you cannot bundle surgical instruments with different intended use together. The third bundling group is the medical devices system, which is quite straightforward. It means that a number of medical devices that are combined or connected together to achieve a common intended use or purpose can be bundled together in a single application. They should, however, be under the same legal manufacturer and sold under a medical device system name as a single package. Also, the brochure or the catalog or the instruction for use should show or state that each component or device is intended to be used within the system. An example to this bundling group would be the endoscopy tower, as it consists of a number of medical devices, such as the endoscope camera, the scopes, the surgical tools, monitor, the trolley, and other components. So as you can see that each component separately has a different intended use, and some components wouldn't actually be able to operate separately. But these components, when they are combined together, they achieve a common intended use or purpose. So in that case, they can be bundled together using this bundling group, if they are under the same legal manufacturer and under one medical device system name and sold as one package, not each device separately. A point worth mentioning here is that since they are different medical devices with different intended use, they may contain devices with different risk classifications. So please note that the system risk class will be the highest risk class of the components. So if there are components of class 1, 2, and 3 in the same system, then the system would be regarded as class 3 medical device system. Moving on to the medical procedure pack bundling group. In this bundling group, a collection of 2 or more medical devices that are assembled together as one package by the legal manufacturer to perform a certain procedure can be bundled together using this bundling group. So they should be, as we said, under the same legal manufacturer, have a common intended use and grouped based on their specialty. For example, let's take the ophthalmic procedure pack. It can include cannulas, iPads and shields, knives, etc. This will come in a one sterile package under one master label that will state all the components. So in this case, you can bundle these medical devices together in one application. Please note that the maximum number of devices to be included in a procedure pack bundling application is 50 devices. Here we have the flowchart that every applicant can go through to simplify the process of knowing if the medical device can be bundled and if so, in which bundling. So for example, if the applicant has more than one medical device with the same legal manufacturer and the medical device, for example, we'll take the system bundling and then the intended use, they don't have the same intended use, then the applicant can check if the medical devices are intended to be used in combination to complete a common intended purpose. If they are actually intended to be used to complete a common intended purpose, then you can see that they can take the system bundling group method to include more than one medical device in a single medical device registration application. And the final bundling group is the IVD, or in vitro diagnostic bundling group. As the name suggests, it is for IVDs only. So if the IVDs to be bundled are from the same legal manufacturer, have the same risk classification, same intended use, and are under the same quality assurance certificate, then they can be bundled together in one application. For this bundling group, also 50 devices is the maximum for each application. However, in some cases, applicants can ask for exceptional bundling applications based on their case. This can be done by sending an email to medical_devices@nhra.bh and explaining your case with the supported documents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abdul Latif. Engineer Abdullah, whenever you're ready, you can explain about verification. I'm sure many people are also waiting for your presentation.
Okay, just a second.
No worries.
I will share my screen.
And I would like to encourage you all to share your Q&A, please, so we can make use of this session.
It's there, right? You can see it?
The floor is all yours.
Okay, but before we start, I would like to explain something. When we say sending an email as an attachment, there is an option in the email. You can click on the 3 dots and send it as an attachment. It differs from an email or another, but it's there. You can send an email to an attachment. Okay, first we'll start with EC certificates. EC certificates are easy. You can find them by their notifying body ID number, as shown here, or by name or country. But it's easy because you have a number to figure out. It's 0483. Here it is. You can see their website. And you try to find, now after you confirm that the notifying body is recognized. Now we have to confirm if the certificate is valid or not. Now all I have to do is search for a database for their certificates. List of certificates. Okay, see, we have an AC certificate and there is no list for their AC certificates. You can contact them and ask them for a verification for their certificate. If you received it, you can ask them to include NHRA in the mailing loop, or you can send it as an attachment. Okay, moving on to the other example. Now we have ISO. Just like I said in my webinar, you have to know the notifying body, certifying body, and the country. So we go to the IF members, accreditation members, and you can either by search by name or by the country. You go to the certifying body website and search for a certifying body or accredited body database. Okay, who's accredited? You enter their the notifying body's name. And find a database for their notifying or certified bodies. You enter the certificate number. You can see here the name, scope, our standard scope, and it's valid. Let's take another example. You can for Accredited, you can search for Accredited itself or the other certifying body. Okay, okay, that's now valid. The certificate we have. Just to clear things here, when you search for someone in the IAF or the European Commission, you are here confirming that the notifying body or the accredited body is recognized by them. After you confirm that, you search in their website about your certificate, if it's valid or not. In some cases, the website of the notifying body does not provide a database for their certificate. You can always ask the notifying body to confirm it by email. And just like we said, it's you can include an NHRA in the mailing loop, or you can send the email as an attachment to an NHRA. We'll take two more examples. You can see here it's from the Netherlands. Oh, sorry. You can compare the stamp of the notifying body. Now, after you go to the accreditation body, you go search for the notifying body. You go to their website. And you try to search for a database for their certificates. Here. As it clearly states, you have seen or received a data quality management system certificate, and you want to know if it's valid. Fill the following: attach a certificate and submit it, and they're gonna reply to you. Last example. You can see it's from Turkey, and also you can figure it from this stamp. They are matching. Excuse me. You can compare the accreditation number here. Go to their website. Certified companies. And you enter the certificate number. Okay. Thank you for attending. If you have any doubts, please ask in the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer. There are some questions, but let me just try and segregate them. The first question was actually a reminder by one of our attendees yesterday. Some of the information that we have explained was not maybe conveyed in a clear way. when we said about violations about invoices, please everybody pay attention to this. We did not say that if you submit for an invoice and then it is rejected, you cannot submit with the same invoice. This is not the case. We were talking about invoices submitted, approved, you cannot resubmit for the same invoice because like this, it is a violation. You already have an approval for that invoice. Changing the detail of the invoice is also not accepted. So just for the sake of clarification, thank you very much, Mr. Hussein, for raising this question again. Now, the second question is for Engineer Abdulatif. Are you with us?
Yes.
Bundling related question, what if some of the components, let's say for example, scopes are imported and sold separately, how they can be bundled together?
Yes, so yeah, generally they need to be marketed as one package for the medical device system. However, in some cases, if there are, for example, let's say single-use medical devices, we may accept including them in the same application, but that will be depending on the case.
Okay, thank you very much. For verification, Engineer Abdullah.
Yes.
I know you've tried your best to explain all the examples, and I'm sorry, but this is one of the questions, so maybe answering those questions will really help us. About finding the NSAI in the IAF. Can you take them through the steps without sharing your screen, just to guide them again if they want to know that if the NSAI is accredited by the IAF or not? What are the steps?
Okay, first you have to know the certifying body of this certificate and the country where it was issued. You go to the IAF, find one of them, and visit their website. Then you can see if it's if the NSI is accredited for an ISO or not. As simple as that.
Yes, I hope it is clear. If not, please raise the question in the Q&A box. I have a question for Engineer Abdulatif. When you said that the maximum number is 50 only, can you elaborate more on what we mean by 50 only? Because one of the attendees is asking, will different size of a device also include in this count, for example, a guide wire that vary in sizes, sometimes more than 50 sizes, and they have different types also, all with the same intended use and risk, etc.
Correct. Yes, for this, actually for sizes, yes, if there is, for example, if there are guide wires with 50 sizes, it will be 50 medical devices, but actually for that, you will go using the single medical device bundling group. And in that case, you can submit an application with more than 50 devices. It doesn't have to be maximum of 50 devices. Maximum of 50 devices is for the procedure packs and the IVDs.
Okay, thank you. I'll give you a break and go to Engineer Abdullah. Do you accept UKCA? I think maybe they're talking about UK Quality Assurance Certificate instead of MDD or MDR certifying body is UK due to Brexit. Do we accept this?
We're actually on the fence on this one, but in my presentation, I said it's we will not accept it, but due to there's a huge amount of notifying body, I think we have to accept them.
Until it is sorted out, yes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so we will take a gradual approach. If it's not accepted, we will let you know. That's why it's always important to have the pre-approval before you confirm shipping the item. It is important to make sure that the application is in compliance with requirements before you actually confirm any order and have an obligation to comply with. Thank you very much, Engineer. I will take some live questions, and then we'll go back to the Q&A. I have Ms. Asma. You can unmute your mic.
Yes.
Yes, you have a question?
No. Oh,
You're raising
sorry.
your hand. Maybe
by
by
mistake.
Okay, so Ms. Basma. Do you have a question or also by mistake?
الو
Yes.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
يعطيك العافية انجينير ندى.
يعافيك.
في عندي سؤال بخصوص الفايوليشن لما نقدم ريكوست على افق سيستم. اوكي لما قدمنا مثلا 3 مرات which was rejected and we received from افق system that like NHRA mentioned that your request registered as a violation and because of not complying with the NHRA regulation. In this case, what will happen and what are the action that will taken by NHRA in this case?
شكرا للسؤال. It's a very important question. Now we have a guideline for violation for you to have a look at, but let me just summarize it. We take a gradual process even with violations, given that those violations does not put patient life at risk. So with regards to applications, if it's not falsifying a document, if it's only like, for example, repetitive submission, if the quality assurance certificate was not verified before you submit. So we have a certain number where it is accepted without issuing a violation letter. You have only 3 violations before we actually take an action on your CR. So what will happen is we will send the first notice to you, to the management in your company to try and avoid it. If it keeps on happening on a regular basis, once the 3rd letter is issued, the violation would be added on your CR, on Sigillat. And it will affect a lot on the CR itself in terms of renewal, if you're going to have some kind of a support from Tamkeen and so on. So we try to avoid having this as, this is what we're aiming for. We're having these continuous workshops to avoid this scenario. But unfortunately, sometimes some applicants, they just randomly submit. With the fees implemented, we have this a bit less, but it is not yet eliminated. We were hoping that it will be eliminated, but still it is happening. If you get this letter from us, you can always request for a meeting with the management of your company, and we can work out things together. If there's something we can give you as an advice, we'll be more than happy to do that, because trust me, we're not glad to record violations, but it's something that we have to do because it is affecting on our daily task. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, but in our scenario that, I mean, as I understand, so in this case, you will not send a warning letter, or you will send?
It depends how many times this message was shared.
Only 1 time.
Yeah, so next time you need to avoid it before we send the letter. Currently, no.
Okay. I have another request
on the system before we take an action.
Are you hearing me, Engineer Nada?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. The second question is regarding the renewal. Okay. For submission, the renewal, for the reviewing, first we will have to pay 50 BD, right? This is for only for
renewal of what? Medical device or AR?
AR.
AR, yes.
AR. So for the submission and reviewing, we will pay first 50 BD, correct?
Yes.
Okay. After reviewing and this, we have to pay the amount, I think 700 BD for the renewal. Or depend on the classification?
Depends on the class.
Okay, how we can know the classification of our ARs?
Yes, we will let you know that. based on the criteria in our website. Once you reach to the final stage, before we issue the certificate, we will send you your class and the notice.
Okay, the receipt of 50 BD, we will receive it within the reviewing or the first time once we submit the...
Okay, so when you will pay the 50 BD is before we review. We will not review unless you pay the 50 BD. So if you did not submit, if it's a new application, you need to submit, book the appointment regularly, submit the documents. We will reply back with a notice to pay for you to pay the amount, and then we will start reviewing.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your valuable questions. We can go back now to the Q&A. If the website only mention name and certificate type, for example, ISO, do we need to get email verification as the certificate number is not mentioned? Engineer Abdullah.
Yes, you have to connect between the result you got and the certificate itself. So
yes, if you can tell them what we are looking for in the capture itself, what the capture is.
First thing, it's if it's valid or not, the manufacturer, scope, and the standard. So we can match between the two results or the two documents. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. There is a question from Meta, and please clarify if I understood your questions. If not, please write in the Q&A. For class 1 item, is it necessary to submit both ISO and CE? You're talking about importation in here. The answer, Engineer Abdullah or Mr. Abdullah, if you're with us, do you accept for class 1 ISO and CE or only ISO?
As Mr. Abdullah mentioned in his presentation, for class 1, we do require ISO and the DOC, the Declaration of Conformity, for both. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And for combined, we, as Mr. Sabika explained before, there's no such term. But if it's class 1, it will fall under the same criteria for importation. If you're not talking about importation, please rephrase your question again so we can answer it. There is one last question, and then maybe we can see if somebody is raising their hands to take a live question. As per EU medical device requirement, no instruction for use are needed for device in class 1 or 2A, if they can be used safely without any instructions. In this case, can we just provide a declaration letter to NHRA to claim that our product has no IFU? If you're talking about, and I think you're talking about registration, Engineer Abdulatif.
Yes. So if the device actually does not have an instruction for use, yes, you can provide a justification, and we have to look into that case. So it depends on the device actually and the case, but usually there will be an instruction for use. If you don't have it, you can provide a justification from the legal manufacturer as an official letter.
Thank you. There is one question for AR. I'm not sure if Engineer Umar is with us. They're asking about medical device storage location, a new warehouse, for example, but the AR license expires in 2023. Do we need to submit inspection form only, or do we submit the renewal form and fill in variation while fulfilling all renewal requirements? Engineer Amar, if you're not with us, I can maybe answer this. If it's expiring in 2023, that doesn't mean that you need to renew it. You can only renew it on that year itself. So here you're talking about changing the storage location, which is variation. So you need to submit a variation form, not an inspection form or renewal form. You need to submit variation. If the store itself was not registered before, and you want to register it, that means you're having a new registration. So I'm trying just to have all scenarios answered. If importation is, for importation, is ISO and CE both requirements for combined medical device? Can we submit soft copy of ISO and the hard copy will take 2 months to get legalized? Miss or Mr. Meta, we are not asking for hard copies. If you were with us in the previous presentations, all documents are done online. There's no hard copy and there's no legalization. So please make sure that you visit our website, see the recordings, and be fully aware of our regulations. I see hands raised, Ms. Asil or Mr. Ahmed. Sorry, we'll start with Mr. Ahmed.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. But I have two questions about bundling. Okay. For example, a cosmetic filler is the same manufacturer, the same ingredient, which is hyaluronic acid. Only the concentration will be different. It will be bundled as a group medical device, or each type will be under one device.
Engineer Abdulatif?
Yes, from what I heard, I think you said only the concentration differs. So in that
Yes.
case, it will be a single medical device bundling.
Given that the intended use is the same.
Yes.
Yes. And one more question: if the first time to import it, do we have to go classification or just apply direct on OFOC for the cosmetic filler?
You have to classify.
First.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question.
Let me just
For
make
cosmetic
sure.
product.
Can you hold on, please? Let me just make sure. Mr.
Yes.
Bik is with us or not? Just hold on, please. On our website, I'm just trying to see the list of medical devices that does not require, no, fillers are not, does not require classification.
So apply direct on OFOC.
Yes.
And if ISO 13485 is available, okay, but free, it is from Sweden. So we need free sale certificate from Sweden only, or from Sweden and another country?
For what?
For this device. Now it is combined. Yeah, it's a hello. Yes. So we will apply the ISO 13485. Okay. Plus free sale certificate, or no need for free sale certificate in this case?
Mr. Ahmed, let me just get you clear. You're talking about documents required for registration.
For importation now for importation first.
Free sale certificate is not a requirement.
Not required. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If we want to change or shift our premises, do we need to get NHRA approval to do so? If yes, which form shall we use, bearing in mind that we are not registered yet? If you're not registered, then you need to submit for a new registration and add the new address at once. It's better. And yes, you need our approval. Because even in Sigillat, to have the CR on a new address, I think they will require our approval. So better to submit to us before you submit to Sigillat. Ms. Asil? Yes? Ms. Asil, are you with us?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, sorry. I just want to ask with regards to UKCA question. As I understand, this is case by case when it comes to importation. But what if in the registration itself we submit with UKCA certificate instead of the MDR or MDD certificate? Will this be acceptable, or it is also case by case?
Engineers?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I'm asking in continuation with the UKCA certificate question. As I understood from the answer that the UKCA certificate for importation would be accepted case by case. Before importation, we need to ask for your approval. However, for the registration itself, can we submit using UKCA or instead of MDR or MDD certificates?
No. At the moment, we don't accept only the FDA certificate to foreign government. But of course, case by case, we can look into the case.
Yes.
But generally, no.
Yes, Ms. Asil, when we say case by case, it depends. If you're having a difficulty, you need to communicate with us. We always have the open door policy. If you are facing a problem and you have an alternative, we might consider it. So if you have alternative documents, we might look into that. But as Engineer Abdulatif said, for registration, we're not accepting it as per the practice done worldwide. But if you have a valid justification for registration, please do share it with us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. If we want to add an additional CR to our current registration AR license, will this be considered as a variation addition to the current AR or a new registration? I'm not sure if Engineer Amar is with us again.
Yes, Engineer.
Yes. So will you consider adding an additional CR as a variation or as an addition? So I think they're adding a brand. This is what they're saying, like adding a branch.
Yes, in case they are adding a new branch, they have to obtain the NHRA authorized representative registration, and they have to implement the whole process for the new site, starting from the initial approval going to the final approval.
So not a variation?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is variation form, sorry, I'm not sure if this is a clearly written question, but variation form, what needs to be issued by the AR and the legal manufacturer of already registered imported. Okay, so for a registered medical devices, Engineer Abdul Latif. Thank you, Engineer Ahmed. Engineer Abdul Latif. For a registered medical device, if they submit for a variation, is there any document required to be issued from the legal manufacturer? I hope I understood the question clearly.
Yeah, for variation, it will be depending on the variation. So for example, if we take the artwork, they will need to provide the updated one with the application form.
Thank you. And the last question is about classification. If the product does not have a free sale certificate from a reference country, but only a free sale certificate from the country of origin, which is not a reference country, is there any possibility to get such product classified? Yes, as per the classification checklist, we have mentioned that 2 documents are essential. The free sale certificate from the country of origin and a reference country. And if you don't have a reference country, there are alternative documents, the mode of action, intended use, and so on. So yes, you can submit, but it will take longer time, and we might ask for many other additional documents. Okay, thank you very much for the questions. I would like to thank Svetlana and her team for making this event possible. Very much appreciated. Thank you for your support. And I would like to thank my team for presenting, answering the questions, and thank all the attendees for their time, for your valuable questions and comments. Thank you and have a lovely weekend. Ma salama.